driver off the deck for Corey Connors.
Here's driver off the deck for Victor Hovland.
So the driver off the deck. I know you would try this, right?
Oh my, what a shot.
Just to be able to hit it off the deck and get that thing down and fly it in running.
You have to put your foot on the gas. You pull out the driver off the deck and you put it on the green all the way up the hill.
Welcome back to another episode of Off the Deck. I am your host, Josh Decker. Today we have Tyler Munds. Tyler, how you doing, bud?
I am doing incredibly well. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on. This podcast exists for the exact reason that our relationship, I think, exists, is golf brings people together that meet on Instagram and then end up at an event at the same time. So we chatted about that at Landman last year. And I've always followed your content, love your vulnerability. I love that you are willing to put yourself out there and your golf swing, your Q&As, everything. Talk to me about that and that mindset and being able just to put yourself out in the open like that. Cause I don't know that I could handle it.
Yeah, it's a good question. You know, at times I don't know if I handle it very well, but I think that I wouldn't really want to do it. I'm not good enough of an actor to put on a character. So maybe it's more like a shortcoming. I'm authentic because I wouldn't be good at anything else other than being me. And I've always found the value in it for me of like being on the internet as like a personality, I guess, for lack of a better term, is like in being somewhat transparent, even, you know, to a fault in it at sometimes. And I think like that creates a lot of genuine, authentic interactions with other people. It gets other people to open up and have, you know, like real conversations as much as you could have, you know, via DMs on Instagram. But I find there's like a lot more depth there. It's not as superficial. I mean, a lot of the interactions I can't have deep conversations and deep connections with everyone, but I can with the people that I choose to. And I don't think that door would be open if I had a persona that I needed to curate and protect. And so it's just, I think for me, easier to just be who I am, kind of let it all out there for better or for worse. And let the chips fall, you know, as they may.
Yeah. And for some context for the listeners, if you don't follow Fade and Fairway, Tyler will post his scores, his updated handicap, tons of swing videos, tons of videos that are slow motion or even stills of positions of his swing, which I marvel at. You have probably read more, know more, and forgotten more about the golf swing than I will ever know and understand. So yeah, the vulnerability, and it's funny that you called it a shortcoming, but it's something I appreciate because I could never put myself out there the way you have. And then something that is truly inspirational, I think you started sharing in the last, probably we'll call it 6-8 months or so, was your health journey. And that's been fascinating for me to keep up with. I mean, you have done a tremendous amount of work on yourself, and seeing the pictures before and after. First off, congratulations on succeeding at a very, very high level to take great care of yourself. But again, just I marvel at your willingness to put that out there, because I certainly couldn't do it. And again, it's an inspiration. So thanks for even providing me some motivation in terms of my own health goals. And I know you're keeping up with your macros right now. I think I messaged you. I was like, you're going to get shredded if you follow these macros. How's that going?
It's gotten a lot easier. Just to provide context for anyone listening, I've shed some pounds. And I recently had a primary care visit, like annual checkup, and I turned 35 like 10 days ago or whatever. And in the checkup, my doctor was like, yeah, you know, you're coming up on a milestone birthday, you know, you have to start worrying about muscle loss. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah, every year, basically 35 on, like your body will start losing muscle. And then at a certain point, you really can't get it back. I don't remember what age he told me, but he's like, do you exercise? I was like, yeah, dude, I play golf. And he's like, that doesn't count. And I was like, no, I walk and I carry my bag. He's like, no, that doesn't count. You have to, you got to strength train. You got to try to put on muscles. Went online. I looked up how to do that. Like how to actually do it, not just, like go to the gym and lift weights, but it's like, what's everything that goes into it? And, a big part of it is like fueling the body and protein intake. And so, I did whatever the calculations were, and it's like, should be having 200 grams of protein a day. And it's like, when I first, probably like coming in on like 8 weeks into it, when I first started, I was struggling to hit like 160, 170. That was really hard. And so over time, it's gotten easier, or at least I've become more acclimated to it. It's still a little bit of a chore to do that, but I'm like thinking about, hey, I wanted, like, if I can just put on some muscle mass, then I'll have something to lose over the next 25 years. So I'm just kind of looking at it that way as more of like a short-ish term thing. So I won't have to do this forever. But yeah, it's been an interesting process. I've never really liked the gym.
Same.
And I still don't, but I've come to have like a amicable relationship with it, where I'm like, in the same way that I don't like to pay taxes, I just know I have to do it. I don't want to go to the gym, but it's like, hey man, I know I have to do it. It's going to take me an hour. Just go in, do it, be done with it, and then do the stuff on the back end to make sure that it's worth the hour of my life that I'm spending. With making sure I'm getting the stuff I need to build the muscle that I'm breaking down. Yeah, it's been an interesting process. I've seen a lot of changes over the last couple of months, which have been nice. And I'm just, like I said, I want to build a little bit of a foundation now, so that when I'm 55, I'm thanking myself rather than kicking myself for not doing the hard stuff now.
And I can certainly understand what you're talking about with the grams of protein on a daily basis. You're like, okay, I've had 2 pieces of chicken, I've had 2 protein shakes, and you're like, wait, I'm only at 150 grams. I've got to eat more. Like I recently did a similar kind of full body examination, and they were like, yeah, you need 200 grams. And so they've got me started out with a massive protein shake right out of the gate. And I'm like, okay, so am I on the Bryson DeChambeau plan? Which I don't want to be on. So with everything with your health journey, how has that impacted your golf game?
I mean, I'm swinging faster for sure. Yeah, it's interesting. It's twofold. So the physical aspect of it is I'm definitely like stronger. I'm definitely stronger, and that has resulted in speed. For no other reason than I'm stronger. And I've talked to some guys who hit it very far, who are very well versed in human physiology. Drew Cooper, he's another Instagram guy. Smoothest 140 mile an hour swing speed you'll ever see in your life. And he's very much like, he was always he always was a fast swing speed guy, even in high school, but he's like, I got way faster when I got way stronger. And so, I'm definitely seeing that in my own game. But I think the most positive impact it's had is that I have something else to focus on. I have, like, for the longest time, golf was kind of just like outside of my job. Golf was kind of like the only thing I thought about, and really like participated in from a leisure or, spare time, aspect. And so now that I'm kind of like spending some time working on fitness and getting stronger and making sure my form is right on certain lifts so I don't hurt myself, and focusing a little bit more on my nutrition, it's kind of like given me this separation from the mental the head case part of the game that I fell into a lot, just because I just could not separate myself from it. It's like I got out of that, like that part of it went away. So now when I go out and play, I'm a lot less wrapped up in my score or even how I'm playing. I'm definitely more grateful to be out there. I'm just trying to have fun. I'm still trying to hit shots. I would like to, I do want to score as well as I can, but it just doesn't really bug me as much. because it's like it's with, and I think this is probably what happens with professional golfers. I mean, I listened to the No Laying Up interview with Justin Huber recently, where he was like the last 3 years of his professional career, he hated it. He just hated golf. And so, not that I was ever close to that, but you know, like if that's all I'm thinking about every day when I go out to the course, it's not really an escape. It's like I'm actually even more in it. So focusing on other things has really increased my appreciation for the game, and resulted in, like, just from a mental standpoint, I'm enjoying the game so much more, even if I don't play well. And that's kind of a new thing for me.
Which, that's really interesting you said that, because one of the notes that I'd made to ask you about is, and I didn't have the word obsessive written down on my notebook. I'll send you a picture just to confirm, but I did have written down chasing perfection, and that's something I think, at least just from me knowing you now a little over a year, I think you're doing. And so the fact that you now have another outlet and are leisurely enjoying golf, I guess, are there times when you feel like, you've got a great round going, you're like, okay, I do want to get more hyper focused on today's round and try and really do something special? Or is it still, you go into a mentality on the first tee, it's a, hey, I'm going to go out here and just have fun today, or hey, I'm going out here and scoring? How are you mentally approaching the rounds, given that you've got a new view on how you play golf?
It's a great question. I would say I go into every round wanting to make it a great round. Like, I want to go out every time I play. I want to shoot a good score. Like, even if I wanted to not think about score, I can't. Like, I'm in the back of my mind, I'm tallying it up. Like, I always know where I'm at, when I'm playing. Like, I just do. I also will say that doesn't really impact me very much. Like, if I'm a couple under, I don't get nervous really, or try to focus in anymore. I will say that I think after the fact in some rounds where, like, I definitely did, like, made a bunch of mistakes and stuff, I'll kind of kick myself a little bit, be like, well, I really wasn't focused at all. I was just kind of out there hitting it. And I kind of regret a little bit not just slowing down a little bit, maybe not like willing myself to play better, but putting myself in a better position to get the most out of whatever I had that day. But I also am kind of not kicking myself too much for that, because I think right now my whole focus is kind of like a detox of getting away from that chasing perfection, getting away from being so hard on myself, getting away from, like, not being appreciative and grateful for just being out there. And so I do think that, like, I will meander back to, okay, like, I'd really like to set some goals and reach those goals and put some work in and focus in on my process and things like that. I don't think right now is that time, but it will be time, because, like, I'd like to show up and play tournaments better and be a better competitive golfer. That's not going to happen accidentally. Like, there's going to have to be some intentional work put into that. And I know that, but I think right now for me, to answer your question, very long-winded way, I'm just going out there, primary goal, have fun. And if I have a good round going, just try not to take it too seriously. Like, I've found it really, it's only happened twice at all this summer where I got mad on the golf course, and I was able to clock that in the moment to be like, oh, I'm upset. Like, I'm actually upset while I'm on the golf course. And so I'm like, I need to take a few days off, because I don't want to jump back. I don't want to get back into that. I don't want to do that. It's okay to be frustrated in the moment. It's okay to, like, be disappointed, but to be truly upset, and feel like I could potentially lose control of, or let my emotions get the better of me in that moment. I'm really working hard to stay away from that. And so it's only happened twice, and I kind of put myself on in a self-imposed timeout to say, oh, I'm just going to kind of not think about it for 4 or 5 days, and then I'll come back and just be a little more chill.
So what I'm hearing is, next time that I see you post something that feels negative about how you played, I should fire off a text and be like,
So
"Hey,
take a break.
yeah,
Yeah.
do you remember that conversation?
Put the sticks in the shed, dude. Yeah, exactly.
So I am incredibly envious of the amount of golf and the quality of golf that is around you. I'm somewhat familiar. I finally got to go to Bandon for the first time this past January. And you're what, 3.5 hours from Bandon, I think, is that right?
About right, yeah. Three if I'm feeling brave.
And so tell me about what all you've got around you, just in terms of private, public, the golf scene in and around you, because it seems like it's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, I mean, we've got some world-class golf here. I mean, I'm in the Portland, Oregon area, so we've got some pretty solid public options out here. We've got a Peter Jacobson design called Stone Creek that's really it's a fantastic it's a municipal course. It's owned by the county. And it's in phenomenal shape for what it is. I mean, really, really good shape. There's another one called Langdon Farms, not too far from here. Another one that's just like, you would think it's like private club quality. Both of them are private club quality in terms of their conditioning. Stone's got some wonky tee boxes, but there's some private courses here that have wonky tee boxes. So that's not out of the ordinary, but Langdon's really nice. We've got a semi-private, 36-hole facility called the Reserve. That's awesome. That's actually where I learned the game. I worked there when I was in high school. That's great. And then, I mean, we've got some really solid private golf out here too. So, Waverly is out this way, where they just had the U.S. Senior Women's Open, I think last year. I think it's like the second oldest golf club or something like that west of the Mississippi. I don't know. I could be wrong on that.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. So private courses. So, we have Pumpkin Ridge, Witch Hollow on Pumpkin Ridge. The private side is a really solid course. Royal Oaks up in the Vancouver, Washington area is awesome. Columbia Edgewater. I mean, just a ton of great private courses around here in Portland. And then, you've got Bandon down, towards in the southern coast of Oregon, but on the way there's a great course called Tokatee that's down south. That's fantastic. And then if you go up a little north, on the Oregon coast, you got Gearhart, which if you watch like No Laying Up's Tourist Sauce, their Oregon, they went to Gearhart, and Gearhart, I believe, is the oldest golf club west of the Mississippi. It is very cool. There's a pub attached to it, that's kind of overlooks the 18th green, and it's an awesome golf course, kind of a tight but links style course. The Astoria Country Club is up there. Very, very unique, very cool layout. So a lot of good golf out here. And then probably my favorite course in the Pacific Northwest is just a couple hours north of me, Chambers Bay, where they play the 2015 U.S. Open. Yeah, super. I mean, I can't say good enough things about Chambers, but then you can go, farther east, and they have, Gamble Sands and Wine Valley, and bunch of great courses out in Bend. So, God, I mean, just tons of stuff out here, and it's great.
So you mentioned the Reserve. I think that was the name of it, where you learned the game. What was that experience like? First time you put a club in your hand, you were how old? And then working there, what was that like for you?
It's a good story, actually. So it was my 16th birthday. So the Reserve is a very nice place. It's semi-private. They have 2 courses. They flip them every 2 weeks. So for 2 weeks, the North course is the private side, and the South course is public. And then every 2 weeks, they flip it. So
that's very cool.
Very cool. 2 different style courses. One's kind of like a championship style, Parkland course, tons of like 105 bunkers. It's where they would play they had a Champions Tour event out here for the longest time on that course. Tips out like 7,000 yards. Cool course. And then the other one's kind of like a little more open, kind of faux link style. That's the North course. So 2 different style courses. And it's nice. It's like a high end course. And so it was my 16th birthday. My dad's like, "Hey man, do you want to go play golf?" Never really touched the club. He hadn't touched the club since he was in like high school, and never really played. He just went out and like whacked balls, into a field or whatever. And I was like, "Yeah, sure, let's go play." So we walked up, he's like, "Where should we go?" Or I said, "Where should we go?" And he's like, "I've heard the Reserve's nice." We're like, "Let's do it." And so we go in to the pro shop, and we're like, "All right, we'd like to play 9 holes." And they're like, "Yeah, we don't don't do that here.
Yeah.
And they were really nice. They like charged us half. Hooked us up with some rental clubs and stuff. Gave us a cart, and so again, we know nothing about golf. So we drive up to the first tee, try to tee off. Ball goes 40 yards or whatever. And we're very hyper vigilant of like people behind us and stuff. But it's a weekday in the middle of September, so it's not particularly busy. We drive up to where our ball is but we're still on the cart path. No joke. We sprint out to the balls, hit them, sprint back, drive up. We didn't know we could drive on the grass. Had no idea. And we do that for like 2 holes. I mean, just drive up, sprint, duff it, sprint back. Finally,
drive the cart 10 feet forward and do the same
exactly.
thing. Keep doing that.
And I mean, we are dead sprint running back and forth. Finally, like we finish the second hole and then Marshall catches up to me. He goes, "Hey guys, just so you know, you can drive on the fairways. Just don't drive, anywhere near the greens and don't, put a cart in the bunker." And we're like, all right, cool. So we settled down and it was fun. Just had a ton of fun. And then my dad's like, "You should get a job here." And so that next spring I applied, got a job in the cart barn and worked there for 3 summers. I worked in the winter too, because we can play year round up here. And so, but mostly did all my work in the summer. And so this was like pre-subprime mortgage housing blow up. So there was, money was kind of flowing. But we would have two double shotgun tournaments like 3 days a week at that golf course. So it means like both courses were filled up. We'd have one in the morning and one in the afternoon, right? So you'd have 2 full courses, parts, the whole thing. And so we'd get there at like 4:30 in the morning, set up the AM double shotgun tournament, lead them out to their courses, to their holes. And then we'd clock out. We'd do these split shifts because there's nothing to do. Both courses are taken out. There's nothing to do. So we'd clock out. And technically, we'd have 5 hours. You could go home if you wanted to, but we would just go and hit balls and chip and putt for like 5 hours. And, doing that for every day, basically with some guys that are really good at golf, like you get pretty decent. So I got pretty too. Okay. I mean, I was able to shoot kind of like low 80s basically by the end of my first summer. Just, messing around with those guys. And then, we had free playing privileges. So we would just go out and play a bunch as well. So, I did that until I went to college, and it was a very cool experience.
That's awesome. So yeah, I can imagine you got good quick if you're practicing 5 hours a day, 3 or 4 times a week. I mean, especially short game stuff, because that's where you can either blow up or really score well, is short game putting. And I've played with you, it's your short game is very tight. So then through college, you played all in college, or did you leave?
No, I didn't.
What was that like?
I didn't touch the clubs from like 2009 until probably I kind of tried to get back into it in like 2017, but then I made a career change and just didn't have the time or the money. And then like December 2019, I told my fiance at the time, who's my wife now, I was like, I think I'm going to get back into golf. So it was like December 2019. She's like, yeah, do it. Get back into golf. So I dusted the clubs off. And then 3 months later, the world shuts down. And the only thing that you can do is play golf. So it actually kind of worked out. So I think I was probably like a 15 handicap, whatever, like that was February, March of 2020. And that's really when I started to like, all right, I'm going to get back into it. Oh, okay. I'm going to try to get more serious. I want to actually try to get good at this.
Yeah, and you did that full speed ahead. If you were a 15 in 2020, because you're down to what now? I mean, that was 5 years ago.
2.5, yeah.
2.5, yeah. So, and I don't know what the scene was like in Oregon, but down here during the pandemic, golf was crazy. I mean, it was.
Yeah.
I once saw a map of the course that I was a member of at the time, where they had tracked all the golf carts and just the GPS, and it was almost colored entirely yellow. Like you could not see where the actual grass was because there had been so many carts driving all over the place. And this was just over a month. It was wild.
Yeah.
So is that when you?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, as you say, it was very similar here. It was just like, we saw a pretty big explosion of new players, rounds per year, and just kept increasing, year over year, month over month.
So is that when you really started focusing on your Instagram account and your content? Because I love seeing the training aids that you share. The hitting mat that I have in my house is one you recommended. Is that when that all began, or were you already working on that? Because if you just picked the clubs back up, did that coincide, or was that something that kind of came along later on?
Yeah, no, like I said, when I kind of started to try to get back into 2017, I had made like the Fade and Fairway Instagram account then, and did nothing with it. And then in 2020, when I was like, all right, I'm going to get back into it, I was like, I wonder if I remember the login for that. And I did. I think I had 25 followers or something. And I just I had no intention of it ever being anything at all. I just was like, well, when I first started getting into golf, social media in 2005, like social media was, Facebook had barely started. Like Instagram was nothing. And so it was kind of this whole new thing. And I saw, oh, there's like there seems to be this collection of like niche focuses, like niche interests on Instagram, where you can there's these like communities, and you seemingly can kind of build friendships. And none of my friends are really into golf. Or at the time at least, weren't really into golf. And so it's like, well, I can use the internet to maybe make friends who are as into golf as I am kind of very quickly becoming. And so I just kind of started posting stuff and started meeting people and chatting, and it just kind of grew despite me, really. I'd never thought that it would grow to turn into anything at all. So it just kind of became its own thing, and I just kind of like held on and figured I was along for the ride.
Well, it's been fun to keep up with. And in the past, I guess it was 3 or 4 weeks, you had a take, and I texted you about it. I think I said, preach, brother, like you're spot on with this. So if you recall, share what that take was about accessibility to golf, if you will.
Yeah. So I was just finishing up a 5.5 hour round on a weekday, mid afternoon weekday round, and where I had watched the group in front of us who had clearly maybe played golf once, or maybe they just learned about golf that day. I don't know, but there's no way they could have shot under 200. And it was just and they wouldn't let us play through, and it was just such a grind to watch that happen. And I just was like, you know what? I think that if you want to play 18 holes, you should have to carry a handicap. I'm not saying you have to have a certain level. It would be cool if there were some courses where they maybe bifurcated it by skill level, but that's a whole different conversation. All I said was, I think that if you want to unlock the full golf experience, you need to buy into it just a littlest bit, right? You need to pay your $40 fee to whatever local men's club, or there are a lot of online only golf clubs. There's a great one here that I do some work with called Northwest Golf Guys. They aren't associated with a golf course. They are just like basically an online social club that you can get your handicap through. It's like $40 a year, $39.95. Do that, 6 9-hole scores, boom, you have an established handicap. You can make a tee time for 18 holes if you want. What's that going to do? That is going to that is going to like probably cut 15% of players on the course, at least on the back nine. So maybe the front nine's a little bit of a slog. Maybe you play 2.5 hours on the front, but then you can play an hour 45 on the back, and it's still only a 4:15 round, and that's acceptable. Really, anything under 4.5 hours these days, that's okay. On a public course, I can live with that. And apparently, that was a lot of people agreed with me, but there were a lot of people who were like, "Get out of here, dude! Like that's not that. You're being exclusive." And I'm like, "No, dude! Like you don't get it. Like I'm not. This isn't an exclusivity thing. This is we need to if we want to protect public golf, if you want to be able to play a public muni course and not have to pay $300 or $400 to go play some fancy resort course, right?
Right.
We need to like do something about pace of play, because if the first, if someone's kind of maybe starting to get into golf, thinking about maybe they want to make that their hobby or one of their hobbies, and they get out there and they have a 6-hour round, they're not going to want to do that for very long. And then if enough people kind of start dropping out, then courses can't fill tee times. And if these courses, it's expensive to run a golf course, man. Like the margins are thin. They need as many people out there as they can And I understand it's a double-edged sword. It's like when you're, stacking tee times every 7 minutes, that's certainly contributing to the problem. And maybe there are other things that we can do around that. But like just figuring out something, trying to do something to fix pace of play in public golf is good for public golf. Like ultimately that is going to make things better.
Absolutely.
And so I just, it's like, I just posited like, hey, this could work. This could be a thing that we could try. And you know what? And it's not like it's my idea. This is how Sweden operates. This is how Germany operates. This is how Switzerland operates. This is how Singapore operates. Like you can't even make a tee time at all if you don't have an established handicap. So, and pace of play is not nearly as big of a problem in those places as it is here. So like we have models that show that it works. It's not, it's really not an exclusivity thing. It's not trying to exclude people. It is trying to make sure that the game is as enjoyable for everyone as possible so that we can continue having avenues for the average person who doesn't have $100,000 or whatever to blow on an initiation fee at XYZ Country Club. They can still access the game. They can still go out there and have fun and experience it. And they don't have to like write a blank check with their time because it's like, I don't know, is it going to be 4 hours or is it going to be 6 hours? I don't, I guess we'll go and find out. And I think for a lot of people, especially like, I talking to my friends that are like, parents of young children. I mean, I know there are a lot of guys out there, a lot of dads out there that are like, dude, I can't even play anymore because it's just like, I can't be away from my wife and 2 young children for 7.5 hours because it's like it takes me so long to get there. I want to warm up a little bit, then you have the round and then you got to drive home. Like I can't do that, so I'm just not playing. Well, what if I could guarantee you that like, hey, the round is going to be no more than 4 hours and 15 minutes. I think that opens up like a lot more people who want to be out there, who want to spend their money on the golf course. If you can kind of like put some parameters around the time aspect of it, they're going to be able to be like, you know what? No, I can work within the confines of this scheduling. But it's like when you don't know, trying to tell your wife who's trying to wrangle, 3 kids under the age of 5 that, hey, honey, be back in 8 hours.
Right.
No, dude, no, you won't be back in 8 hours. You're going to be right here because I can't do that. And like for very good reason. Like it's a lot to try to put onto one person. So everyone needs their, spare time. Everyone needs a break. But it's like, I think we as a golf community need to do something about basically telling people, yeah, you have to write a blank check with your time if you want to play this game. Yeah. I just think there's something that we can do to make that not so much of an issue.
And to your point, I don't think it's exclusivity. I think it's more about experiential. Like for sure. You kind of covered it. I don't even like, I was a member at a club here in Birmingham and dropped out of it because they were doing split tees on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And I'm like, what's the point if I can't, especially if I'm a member of a club, if I can't just
that's egregious.
Hop on somewhere and go play. Like I was like, okay, yeah, I'm done. I'd rather drive 2 hours and go play Sweetens Cove.
100%.
And I mean, the course I was talking about is 45 seconds down the road from me. I was like, this is ridiculous. Like I don't want to spend 6 hours between all the things you mentioned, the warm up, the actual round, then the settling bets, and then the drive home. But even then, there's something to be said about that 4 hour and 15-minute round because you hit, you get to your ball, and you hit, and you hit, and get your ball, and it's just as opposed to hitting and waiting. And I love good company. I love great company, but I'm there to play golf. If we want to hang out, we can go sit in a bar and hang out. Like I don't want to do that when I'm on a golf course. So yeah, I am a supporter. If you want to lead this charge, I will be right behind you. Just whatever you need, I will support every bit of it. Because I think it's very important because nobody wants to play golf in 6 hours. Like that's just it's not feasible. It's not realistic, and it's not sustainable.
No.
Because it turns people off. And I think you pointed that out beautifully. That's the biggest issue with it is it keeps people from wanting to go back. Yeah. The ratio of people in favor and people opposed to your post, what was it 50-50 or how did it lean?
Oh no, it was 90-10. Most people were like, hell yeah, brother.
Okay.
I think a lot of those people that were like it's more of a selfish thing, but the people that were against it were very against it and told me, I was some, uppity, snotty, country club dude. I'm like, dude, I'm you're like completely like the whooshing sound that you're hearing is my point flying over your head that it's like, no, this is the answer to the question is not go join a country club. The answer to the question is like we can fix it. Like we can fit. I know we can try something. There are things that we can do to fix slow play. We just got to try it. We just got to maybe try some stuff.
Agreed. Totally agree. All right, I got a couple questions for you. Just a couple quick hitters.
Let's do it.
What is your favorite new course to you in 2025? So a course you have not played before this year.
Elk Ridge. Elk Ridge is up in Carson, Washington. It's about an hour from me. And Elk Ridge is if you took Landman and shrunk it down by like 35%, that's Elk Ridge.
Okay. I need to see Elk Ridge.
Like take Landman and just shrink it. And it's incredible. It's awesome. It's like $65 to play.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it is the condition of the course is always awesome. It is got some of the coolest green complexes that remind me a lot of Landman, but just way smaller. Like it's just not on the scale. Like there aren't many things that are on the scale of Landman. But like the feel of it, the way the land moves and the way the green complexes are built, it's very Landman-esque. So Elk Ridge is like definitely my favorite this year.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look that up. What is your favorite club in the bag right now?
Probably I hit the mini driver super well. So I got a TaylorMade Original 1. I can hit it. I can draw it. I can fade it. I can hit it off the deck. I can hit it off the tee. I can hit it low, hit it high. I feel like I can do anything with that club. So probably the mini driver.
You're like the third or fourth guest who has said the mini driver, and it might be time for me to get one of those in my bag because I do not.
I like it. It's fun.
What would your dream foursome be? They can be alive. They can be dead. Anything.
It's a good question. So me and 3 other people. Audric Harrington would be. He just seems like he'd be a wealth of knowledge and just like really fun to be around. So I'd say Padraig Harrington. My dad would be another one. He's awful at golf. No, actually, he's gotten a lot better, but he's not very good. But he's the most fun time. I love that dude. And then the fourth, I think, would probably have to be. That's a good one. So Padraig, my dad, and I think Josh Allen would be a lot of fun. He seemed like just like the things I've seen.
He's a golf nut.
He loves golf. Yeah, he loves golf. And he's also like big into the practical jokes, big prankster. Seems like the type of dude that would just like, it would be awesome to spend 4.5 hours with, like on the golf course. So I'm not a Bills fan. I'm a Chargers fan. But Josh Allen, I think he would be a lot of fun.
Yeah, that's a good pull. Do you have a preference over dew sweeping or golden hour?
I'm a morning person, so I'm up early. So I like to get out on the course early. But I do have, so like if it's like I'm playing 18, I want to be out first. But like if it's like I have time for 9, I want to be the last tee time out and just chase the sun.
Yeah, I love that. One of the questions is, what is your wish for golf? Unless there's something different than the handicap requires.
I do have something different here. Okay.
Let's hear it.
So if I had a genie, right? One of my wishes would be whoever decided on 2 9s for, like front 9, back 9, I would want to go back in time and talk to that person and be like, no, not 2 9s. Give me 3 6s. So that if I want to just play 6 holes, I can play 6 holes. If I want to play 12 holes, I can play 12 holes. And like courses are designed to get you back to the clubhouse after 6, after 12, and after 18. That would be my wish for golf. I think that would also be another way to like fix some pace of play stuff, because or not even pace of play. It would fix like the time, the time suck of golf. It's like, well, I don't.
Well, it adds another off ramp. It adds a chance for you to call it a day.
So it's like, all right, cool. I got like 90 minutes. I got 90 minutes. Cool. I can go play 6 holes, and I only have to pay for 6 holes, and I'm going to be able to play 6 holes and get back to the clubhouse. In and it not going to have to be this like event or whatever to try to get back to the clubhouse after 6 holes or feel like I'm wasting, I paid for 9, but I'm only playing 6. Right. So like, I think that would be very cool is if we had 3 loops of 6 rather than 2 loops of 9. That would be my wish for golf.
I know an architect. I might need to throw that idea out to him. And then last question, we'll get you out of here. Just because it's the name of the podcast. Do you like hitting it off the deck? Yes or no? You can love it, hate it. You already said about the mini driver, but what's your feeling about hitting it off the deck?
Yeah, man. Like full send. Yeah, I love hitting it off the deck. I mean, I do tee it up on par 3s and stuff, but like I'm no stranger to trying to rip driver, is certainly mini driver off the deck. So yeah, I'm team OTD.
Love that. Love that. Tyler, thank you for coming on. If you don't follow Tyler already, look up at Fade and Fairway on Instagram, as well as the Mid-Am podcast that he is the host of. Tyler, thank you for coming on tonight. I am Josh Decker, and this has been another episode of Off the Deck.